Welcome to a brand new episode of Load In, Load Out, a tour story podcast produced here in Athens, Georgia, at the state-of-the-art Kindercore vinyl pressing facility. On this episode, Cash and Ryan interview Chuck and Isaac from the Cadets, Cash's first real touring band. As we walk through some of Cash's formative experiences, topics of conversation include, but are not limited to, the majesty of the Roo van. Chuck and Isaac tell a story about coming in from the cold and undernourished vegans in Japan.
Hey. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
I'm Cash.
And this is Load In.
Load Out.
And we're here today with,
The Cadets.
which are,
My band that we started, when we were 15, Chuck? Yep, 15 years
this
old.
is not a video cast, so
No.
people do not know that you are just nodding.
Affirmative.
Yeah, we might have a little bit, might be pulling some teeth.
That's all right. No.
Learning curve.
Yeah. But
It's an auditory medium, podcasting.
it's a band that taught me how to be in a band, basically.
Yeah,
I played drums in it, of
that's
course.
whose fault it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's this guy's fault right here. Isaac joined in later in
Well,
the band.
it's not
before
my
you
fault.
start talking about him, do you want to introduce?
Yeah, go ahead, Isaac.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Isaac. I play guitars.
What's your
and
last name,
other things.
Isaac?
You're gonna make me say it?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Isaac Bear. I
There
said
you
it.
go.
There's a horrible party funk band in California somewhere that thinks my name is awesome. They have also taken my name, but I am not associated.
There's a band called
with them.
Isaac Bear.
Yes.
It's not Isaac the Bear.
And here's an opportunity where I actually get to smack talk them and talk about how bad they are, but I'll
Yeah.
get to that later.
Wow.
I'm Chuck. I play guitar.
Chuck Smith.
Chuck Smith.
With a
not
Y?
to be confused
Please.
with the popular klezmer band.
Chuck Smythe.
Yeah. It's Smyth, but
Yeah.
not Smythe. It's Smith.
Yeah.
Really?
Charles Dennis Smith III.
Really? You had a chance to not do that. You had a chance to not do that.
There's a reason.
I thought
Esquire.
Right.
I thought you were gonna.
But there's a reason. The Cadets always had numbers, but the reason the numbers came about is because Chuck was Charles Dennis Smith III, Pete was Peter Ballantyne Cochran Jr., and I don't have a number.
Surname.
So I was Cadet
Or
001,
suffix.
Pete was Cadet 002, and Chuck was Cadet
Though
003.
later in life we would know you really should have been number 2.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean,
Anybody who knows me will get that joke, but we're going to leave it there.
yeah. I mean, we've done a lot of backstory on it, so it
About
may,
me being in the bathroom a lot.
yeah, or anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Spell it out
Yeah.
for us, buddy.
Yeah. Leave a little something to the imagination. So you toured with these guys.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
quite a bit. I mean, not a super lot. I feel like I toured more with Tracy Shedd, but we did a good amount of touring.
Yeah, and playing.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah.
So when did you guys get started?
In 1995?
Yeah.
It would be about then because I actually remember seeing your band at a birthday party because my band was opening for your band. My band with half the members of the future band Yellow Card in it opened for you guys.
Right.
At a kid's birthday party?
The drummer
Yes.
from Yellow Card was in your band, right?
Yes.
Like a little kid's birthday
What,
party?
what was his name again?
No, he was
Oh.
like 16.
Man.
That'd be awesome.
What was his name
Yeah.
again?
Longino Parsons.
Longino, that's it, yeah.
The third, I believe.
Was there a pony at the party?
There
Or
should have been a
clown?
pony,
No.
man.
It was a
There should have
16-year-old, wasn't it? Never
Yeah.
mind.
And I remember meeting you because you came up. Isaac retains lots of knowledge about musical instruments. And you came up to me and I'd just gotten the drum set. And I didn't really know anything about it. And you were like, is that the floating hardware or the non-floating hardware? I was like, I don't fucking know. Yeah, I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
None of your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh, the guitar. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So how did you guys get started playing together?
Chuck and Pete, our original bassist, were in a band called Chester and the Copperpots,
Yeah.
which I still think is one of the best band names ever.
Not
Yeah.
as good as Wall of Koala.
I still think Chester and Copperpots is one of the best band names ever, and
Well,
I'm surprised no one has used it.
Clarendon and 1/4 inch.
Yeah, we went through several names. One of them being Wall of Koala, one of them being Clarendon 1/4 inch, one of them being Pete Loves Chuck, and one of them being Snacky Poo, which we can tell a story about if we have to. But
If you have to, yeah. Don't do us any favors.
right, but I
Cover the
was
Torch Story podcast.
I was
but,
in this terrible band called Redheaded Stepchildren. And I actually wasn't the drummer. I was the singer because I didn't know how to play drums. And Pete and Chuck came to.
They didn't stop you from being the drummer in other bands, though.
No, I know. Pete and Chuck came to the show in my garage, and after that, the cadet because Brian Bald left Chester and the Copper Pots, and we formed the Cadets from that.
Man.
Do you remember all that?
No, I remember there was a mini trampoline involved.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, you were jumping on the mini trampoline while we were playing.
Yeah?
Really?
Like as
Yes.
a part of a performance? Like you were going to like jump and flip or something?
It was a sophisticated performance.
No,
piece,
I'm into
yeah.
it. Did you ever see the remember the what was that indie rock movie that I had over there, Half Cocked?
Oh, yeah.
Where the makeup was in it and they played as like the brothers band and Ian Simonius kept jumping off the mini trampoline because he was trying to be Prince.
Right.
Yeah. So it was like that. It was like sophisticated.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
And
no.
so the band named Snacky Poo, we were on our way to our first show, if you remember correctly, which was at Einstein's A Go-Go, and we were playing with the Mayberries, and the Mayberries had asked us to play, and we had 13 songs, 2 of which we made it through.
You
And
planned to play all 13.
yes. And we didn't have a name, and we had been listening to the song Snacky Poo, which is an old 50s doo-wop song, or maybe 60s, in the car on the way there. And Christian Mendez, who like had the mic and would introduce bands at Einstein's, was like, "Hey, what's your band name?" And I was like, "I don't know, Snacky Poo." And I can still hear his voice say, "Welcome to the stage, Snacky Poo."
Wow.
You know, arguably the Cadets, Snacky Poo, the Cadets. I might have stuck with Snacky Poo.
I don't know.
Oh man.
So the Cadets came from, I don't know why, Chuck, it was either you or Pete had this idea. It was Peter Parker and the Cadets, which got shortened to just the Cadets.
I think I had that idea.
Peter Parker and the Cadets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
Who's
Why?
going to be
I
the
don't
Peter
know.
Parker? I mean, let's.
Him.
stupid.
He was gonna be.
But that performance.
He was like, guys, it's just a little suggestion, but I might be able to fill the role of Peter Parker.
It
is what
worked
you
for
were thinking.
Darius Rucker.
Yeah.
It worked for Darius Rucker.
He played the role of Peter Parker.
No, he's Hootie.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But that show was the reason why Einstein's would not let local bands bring their own opening bands from there on out. Seriously, we made that rule for Einstein's. It's like,
But yet then they brought you into the fold.
oh
and
yeah,
you
we
became
played there
part of the
several times
family
afterwards. We were the last band to ever play on the Einstein stage.
because it exploded after you were done.
Yes.
Yeah.
What were you about to say, Chuck?
Chuck burned
No,
it
it
to
was
the
just
ground.
They redeveloped it.
absurdly long show for a. What was it like? Almost a first time band.
Yeah.
Like how long is a typical indie rock band play?
Way too
45
long.
minutes.
Way
1
too
hour?
long. It
I mean,
shouldn't
if you
be
go
more than
see
20.
Some anthem rock, they're playing for 2 hours, right?
Right.
But if you go see something 40 watt or something,
Or something
they
that
play for
flicker.
about an hour.
Yeah, and that's a closer. The opener should play about 20, 30 minutes.
The closer
That's
should
what
play
I-
about
yeah,
a half
but
hour.
We played.
Show starts at 9. Headliner goes on at 10:50.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fans over at 9:45.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
but
But we
when I
had
went,
13 half-assed songs that
Yeah.
somehow we just couldn't cut down.
Right.
Right, because they were all they were like
They're
it was
gems.
like it was like cutting your children.
And we only
How
had like
could
2
you?
or 3 originals at that point.
Oh, so these were like 12 or 11 of these were cover songs
Yeah,
that
and we
you were
still
so
make it
connected to
through.
you couldn't cut them from the list. Do you remember what any of them were?
Yeah, I do. I remember one of them was Uncontrollable
Kokomo?
Urge by Devo.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, it was Girl You Want by Devo.
Yeah, I remember there was
Kokomo
Hound
in there?
Dog.
Yeah, we
Hound
covered
Dog.
Hound Dog.
Was that
Okay.
when we covered Verses?
No, we did a good job on that Versus song. That
You
was
know-
much later.
I didn't see this show, but I feel like I was there, and I feel like it was bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was bad.
Yeah.
There was at least 3 Manor Man covers.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm sure.
nice.
Well, we started as a band
Yes.
because Manor Ashram was a huge inspiration for us to start a band. But we were like, we're going to be like Manor Ashram, but more indie rock. We're going to sing some stuff.
Yeah.
It was more like we just couldn't decide what we liked. Like,
Right. Yeah.
It's like if we were going to be Super Chunk or were we going to be Manor Ashram or were we going to be Arches of Loaf or whatever.
Yeah, I think we wanted to meld those
Yeah.
in some way,
Yeah.
and we almost did.
Yeah.
Almost.
I mean I can hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll endorse that
And I'll
as a
say-
non-band member.
Our first real show, though, was opening for Flat Duo Jets. Do you remember that?
No, he doesn't.
This long silence includes a pained look.
No.
You don't remember? And then they stayed with me at my
I
house.
blocked all of this out.
Yeah.
So
At what point does your memory pick up in life? Like, does it like just after the band? Where you're like, okay, everything starts to become clearer. When I
his
left
memory's
music
like
behind.
a corrupted hard drive. There are bits that stick out, and the
It's
rest
fragmented.
Of
Yeah.
that's really accurate.
Yeah. All right.
I wish I
Someone
had the
someone
memory of-
defrag this guy.
of You
Yeah.
guys.
I mean,
You don't have much memory of these two?
No, I mean, I had the memory power of all of you.
Oh.
I thought you said I don't have much memory of either of you guys.
No, that's a nice way to
like,
say it.
this podcast just got really interesting, and I want to know more. All about you.
but yeah, I think we started touring fairly early between our junior and senior year.
Yeah.
Of high school.
And I mean, for the purposes of all of this, touring includes just playing a show out of town, even really.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like I remember playing down in Miami.
So this is all based in North Florida, by the way.
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would play like
This
down
is
in
the
Miami-
longest you've gone on an episode of the podcast without mentioning that you're from Jacksonville.
from Jacksonville, Florida.
Ruined
Duval.
Redact that.
Hi, this week we'd like to talk a little bit about Nucci Space. Nucci Space is an Athens-based 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to suicide prevention. With a focus on musicians, Nucci Space advocates for and helps to alleviate the suffering for those living with a brain illness and fights to end the stigma of mental illness. Nucci Space maintains a health and resource center for musicians as a safe space to seek support and guidance, provides access to affordable, obstacle-free professional care, actively participates in treatment and educates about awareness, prevention, and the risk factors of brain illnesses. Learn more at www.nucci.org. That's www.nuci.org.
Maybe I'm just disappointed in the one which she's anointed. Why could it not be me that I have never feed her? Another chocolate I know, unopened.
For some reason, he's shockingly willing to admit that he's from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
He's very.
Well, now the
Pretty loose with it.
Jacksonvillians almost. Yeah, the Jacksonvillians outnumber the non-Jacksonvillians now that Brighton just walked in the room.
Man.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So we started pretty young. Do you remember playing down in Miami when we met those guys from the Outrights?
That's a long drive.
When we had so our old tour van was the Rooster Country 107, which was our radio station, our country radio station.
Because you guys were a band and you ran a country radio station.
Absolutely.
So you had a van for both.
Can I jump in on this one? Because I love the Rooster van.
Yeah.
So
The Roo van.
The Roo van was this black conversion van that had been, all dolled up for a country station with a gigantic airbrush denim-wearing rooster. From feathered straw hat all the way denim jacket, denim jeans, sunglasses on a rooster.
Double denim.
Denim leggings.
Yeah, double down denim. and
There's actually a picture of it on the podcast website. If you go to kindercore.com/load in, load out, and you scroll back through old episodes, there's a picture of it somewhere because it was mentioned. But go ahead.
And Cash's dad, who is, didn't he hook you up with the Chevy dealership? I'll get you a deal.
No.
No, I thought your dad came into it for some reason.
No, he was the guy that posed as the chicken.
No, I went to go get a van. I was looking for a van, and someone at the dealership was like, "Well, we got this, but I don't know if we're allowed to sell it, but I'll sell it to you."
Because it was supposed to be sandblasted
It was supposed
before
to
it
be
got
painted
sold to
over,
him.
right? And several times, whenever I would park in different places, I
Or
would
flag people off.
Would people come
I
by?
didn't do that.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
People called and complained at the
They
radio
called
station
and complained
about
at the
you.
radio station of they claimed I cut them off. I didn't cut them off. But
Did the radio station call you? How did you know? Were
they
you
would leave
listening
notes
to it?
on the van, wherever the van would be. Because
They'd be like, "I just called your radio station and said you cut me off."
Wait, the radio station found the van?
Yeah, they would leave notes on my window.
The radio
Call us.
station
How
left
would they
votes?
find you?
Wherever they would see the van out and about around town, they'd be like, "Call us, we'll paint over this for free." And I was like, "Fuck no!" I just never called them.
And why would I do that?
Right,
Yeah, exactly.
right.
This still doesn't
So-
sound good at all.
We were in Miami, and we were in Little Haiti at the time, and this is like 96,
Oh.
97.
They
this
hate
I
country
remember.
music there.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And we were playing at what was called the 40 House, which was a what do you call those
Storage
things? Like a
unit.
storage unit. Yeah. And we met these guys who we're still friends, or at least I'm still friends with, from this band called the Outrights. And
Apparently, the rest of you guys had a falling out with them.
No, I like Travis.
yeah, Travis is great. His label's awesome. But so we decide we're kind of lost, and this is before GPS, this is before cell phones, and we pull into Taco Bell. Do you remember what happened to us at Taco Bell?
Where
Again,
I
I
remember
blocked
what
this out.
happened.
All right.
Yeah. So they get their food. They decide to sit and eat around the van and sit outside. And somebody pulls up and says, "You guys, do you know what part of town you're in?" They're like, "Oh, I don't know." They're like, "You guys need to leave now."
I remember the counter for Taco Bell was like a
Yeah, it was
That's
like
what he
it was
remembers.
bulletproof glass. And someone didn't pull up. It was a homeless lady who was sitting outside of the Taco Bell who told us that. They're like, "You boys need to leave now."
Yeah.
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 So, and I think it had a lot to do with the Roo van. We were out of place. There was another time we got lost in D.C. when Chad was directing us where to go at American University, where
where he went to school.
This is before he joined the cadets, and like people stopping in the middle of the road. Like we were in a part of town that, you probably shouldn't be driving a Rooster Country 107 van through, and people just stopping and staring at us as we were driving by.
Yeah.
And Chad is legally blind.
Yeah.
So he's giving us
shouldn't have been
directions.
giving you directions.
He's giving us directions how he would walk to the school, but he doesn't drive, so
he
he
doesn't
didn't
get
realize
one-way streets.
Right,
and
he
all
didn't
that.
realize which streets were one-way streets.
Which in
Just
DC
take
are
a-
most of the streets.
right.
Just
Yeah.
take a right through the quad.
Yeah, exactly.
This is also
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah, cut
that,
through the lobby of that
and
place
up
over
those
there.
Stairs.
so we were on tour, and Chad, who would later, he's the guy from Emperor X, Chad Matheny, later become our bassist, but we were playing on campus. He told us he had a show booked for us on campus. We get there to realize
Surprise.
he just was going to have us play in the auditorium.
And the flyers were great because they said the cadets playing with Sebadoh and
No,
U2.
no, that's not what it said.
No.
It said the cadets, members of Sebadoh and Manor Astroman.
Members of U2 and Volvo.
Yeah, different
Wow.
flyers said different things, and he was trying
Okay.
to get all these people to come to the show.
Did all these people come to the show?
It was a well-attended show.
And he did
Including you two's lawyers.
he didn't check with the student union either. He was like, "This theater's always empty. I'm sure it'll be
Yeah.
fine."
Why not? Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think we got shut down.
Well, and the
if I
guy
remember
that had to
correctly.
come tell us to shut down was Matt Ellers because he was the theater manager at the time.
He
Wasn't
didn't tell us to shut down, but we met him at that
Yeah.
show, and he's the one who booked the tour in Japan.
Yeah,
he helped us at that show.
Yeah,
He did
Matt
sound.
Ellis helped us.
Yeah, but he
He
did.
ran sound. That's right.
Yeah, he booked.
Then he
the
helped get you
entire
out of there
Japan
when the cops
fiasco.
came for you.
I mean, they just told us to leave, and we left.
Let's go to Japan. I like, well, that was good. Let's get to Japan.
We can go to Japan.
You just brought up Japan, let's get
Japan, yeah, let's
Yeah.
go.
So in 2001, we decided that. Well, so we met Matt Ellers at the show in D.C. at American University.
there. He kicked you out of the auditorium,
No,
right?
no, he was running.
I
sound.
thought that's mental
No,
fart.
no.
That's
So he was like, "Hey, you guys are great. I could book a show. I could book a tour for you guys in Japan." And we were all like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
whatever.
I gave him my email address, and I thought that was the end of it. And like 6 months later, I got an email from Matt Ellers like, "Okay, so the tour is booked, and here's when we can leave."
He didn't ask us if we had bought tickets or
Right.
whatever.
Didn't ask
He had
you,
already
like,
booked
when the
3.5
timing-
weeks of dates.
Oh my god!
And so we scrambled to get.
And tickets to Japan are notoriously cheap.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
only $1,200.
Yeah.
We
Jeez.
gotta go to. We don't want to hurt this guy's feelings. Let's go.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's not like we were big enough that there was a demand for us to come to Japan. No, just this guy used to live in Japan with his father because his father was in the military.
And it's
So he booked you on military bases in Japan?
We might have had more success if that were the case. But
Spinal Tap.
yeah.
So yeah, so you were like, well, we have to be nice and go to Japan. We'll do this guy a favor and go to
except
Japan.
Chad, who was, you guys can't go to Japan. It's
No, that's not how Chad was. Chad was all about it in the beginning. It wasn't until we got there that Chad
And he was like,
upset.
cultural imperialism. You're destroying Japanese culture. Like, nobody cares about this band. The biggest show we played outside of an outdoor festival had 100 people. That's not cultural imperialism.
No.
But I mean, no, he was he was the one who convinced us that we needed to go, and he joined the band. I feel like saying because we were going to go.
He joined the band to go to Japan.
But
'cause
we
he needed to
got
learn
there,
choreography in
and
Japan.
that was when he got upset.
Well, he was afraid we were gonna not like get somebody else, so he wouldn't be able to join the band.
Right.
That's because we explicitly said that.
It was either join now or we're getting somebody else. Is that?
For the tour.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got my own story about joining the cadets, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
because that's
Did
its
they
own
haze
thing.
you?
But keep in mind.
Did they?
Oh, sorry.
Did gaslighting, hazing?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Keep in mind what now?
Keep in mind, we weren't even touring very extensively here.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Right.
We went
But if someone offers you,
went from a regional tour to Japan.
yeah.
No,
Some-
we did an East Coast tour whenever we were.
But
in
that was
Knoxville
only
and
2
stuff.
weeks. That was just 2
It
weeks.
was a little bit longer than that.
How long was the tour in Japan?
It was like 3.5. It was a better part of a month.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
It was almost a full month.
17 days.
It's a lot of time. in a
17
place.
shows.
No.
17
it was
business days.
like 9 shows in 8 cities.
It was more than.
You guys need to tighten your
more
shit up.
Anyway, it was a long time ago.
Check
but
Wikipedia.
It's get,
check Wikipedia.
check Cadetopedia.
Yeah, it was weird. We were playing small shows, but I think that there was this kind of thing where people were coming out because we were an American band.
Yeah, I mean, if a Japanese band comes to America, people will go out
Yeah.
just to see what it's like.
Except when
You
we
went an
played
awfully long way.
Hiroshima. When we played Hiroshima, there were only 8 people that
Well,
showed up. And they were
can
all
you
hurt.
blame them?
Hiroshima.
What did we do? Can you really?
Can you-
You don't think they might have held a grudge for a minute? That a band
can I
with a
say
military name came to their town.
Is it?
They may be, you really don't get why they might not have wanted you there.
No.
The American band called the Cadets in
Yeah.
Hiroshima.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I
Enola and
honestly
the
say
gays.
that we bombed in Hiroshima?
Oh man,
God.
let's have a moment of silence for
Please,
that.
please welcome the Okinawa Rock Brigade.
So Hiroshima was a disaster,
Well, yeah, but that was also the best day of tour.
unparalleled.
Remember that? There was 2 types of audience, I think.
One that
Like,
was there and one that
sometimes
wasn't.
Some people were very open-minded and got really into it,
Right.
Mhm.
and were just really awesome people. And then a lot of other shows, they were very rigid about the idea of a rock band, or they wanted punk rock in a
They wanted a specific thing.
specific
They wanted
thing. and
Green Day.
Anything outside of that, they didn't understand.
Right.
You could tell.
Right. They wanted
They
Anthem
were
X.
standing there. There were nights they just didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
Yeah,
It's funny
So we're
how
not
you
a
can
punk
tell
rock
that,
band.
but you
those
could
are the
feel
nights
that.
you're offending them.
Yeah. Well,
That was my impression.
yeah. I mean, and we played with that band Rat.
The
It was a
The-
New Zealand band called Rat.
And Tripod Jimmy.
Yeah.
was it just one T in that rat? Was
Yeah.
it just one T? Or 3?
Oh
it
no,
had to be
it was
1 or
Tripod
3.
Jimmy. Rat was the punk band that he kept telling us we needed to see.
Oh yeah.
Tripod Jimmy, huh?
Yeah.
He was a nice guy though.
Yeah, that whole band was nice. They're very nice. They're the ones who introduced me to.
Come on, you can stay at my house.
Yeah,
They're the one that got Cash to try octopus balls.
yeah. What were they called?
Octopus balls?
Takoyaki.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they were really good. That
Were
was-
they?
That was one of the highlights of the Japanese
And
tour.
then
For you.
also keep in mind, I don't know. Maybe it's the same type of system elsewhere in the U.S., but it was my first time experiencing that. The local band had to buy the tickets from the
Oh
club.
yeah, that's some fucked up shit. That is
Pay
some
to play.
bullshit.
They
That
buy
happens
the
in
tickets
like
and then they're responsible
big
for
cities
selling
and
them,
stuff.
right?
That is
Yeah.
some fucked up shit.
And it was also, but in this situation, there were several bands who bought tickets, and who sold the most tickets got to
Yes.
play the show.
And got to play the best spot, right? Like if you sold more tickets, you got to play a better spot, right?
Do we have that in the U.S.?
I have heard of that happening in places, but it's usually in like bullshit like L.A., or like Vancouver or somewhere where it's like an industry showcase, like you know what I mean, where they're like making bands fight it out with each other for their dignity.
And we didn't learn that till halfway through the tour, so we're sitting there like moaning, "Oh, we don't get paid enough." And then Matt's like, "You guys shouldn't complain. The opening band's out $800."
Oh
Right.
my
Wait,
god!
what?
They
'Cause-
bought that many tickets.
Well,
and
no,
then,
I mean like
oh my
our
God.
shows were like 30 and 40, like equivalent of like $30 and $40
Yeah.
over there for some reason because we were an American band, so they thought like we were bigger than we were because we were playing in Japan. And in reality, we just knew someone who could book shows there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit of a culture shock when it came to things like that.
Yeah.
But the other part of us touring in Japan that was weird was this is 2001. Veganism wasn't as predominant in the world as it is
And
now.
it's very difficult to be
even
vegan in Japan.
vegetarianism, right?
My low moment with Chad in front of the Flower and Dragon in Yokohama. So you know, if you don't read
so
Japanese,
Isaac is vegetarian. At the time,
too.
Chad was a vegan.
Yeah.
you can't read anything. So you either have to beg somebody who knows how to read Japanese. What is this? Please tell me in English what this is.
Sure.
Or you have to guess at something because it looks okay.
You're right.
So we're sitting on a bench outside the club eating our dinner, which is a package of raw silken tofu, orange juice, and raisins.
Oh God, that is awful.
You remember when we
And
were
I love tofu, but not raw silken tofu
no.
with nothing.
we were somewhere and like they served you.
Oh, they tried
Some
grinding
rice.
up the chicken into smaller and smaller
Oh
pieces.
yeah, because then you won't see it. You
You were eating rice and it was like fish broth or something, and you're like, you took a bite, you're like, this has got fish broth in it.
No, it was little bits of chicken.
It
right?
was.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, because it was.
I
It
could
was.
see them.
Like, but it's small.
Yeah,
So that doesn't count.
and we were there.
It's like
with,
my mom who asked me every time I go to their house since I've been a vegetarian for the last 10 years. Do you eat chicken? And I'm like, how many times do we see each other a year? And it's just, I'm sure there's nothing passive aggressive about it at all.
I just don't eat meat.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's amazing. Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, I do remember that we played, and I can remember the name of the club, Pepperland.
Yeah.
they had great names for
Okayama?
clubs.
That was in Okayama
This was the Einstein Agogo of
Japan. Yeah,
Japan.
and it was owned by two sisters, just like Einstein's, and they were vegan, so they were able to cook you guys actually good meal that night. And I remember Chad almost crying over his meal at that point.
Well, because we were starving. I lost like 10 pounds over the.
So you don't eat seafood?
No.
Wow. Yeah.
No. So like the
I'm
moving
vegetarian, but
fish
I eat
flakes. I
seafood,
was not
so
down
yeah.
with that.
Yeah. Moving fish flakes?
Yeah, moving fish flakes. There's a garnish that they serve that's basically like scraped scales of the fish.
Nah.
And so when they serve
they're
it to you
so
hot,
thin.
It
they
like bubbles.
crawl. So your food is still crawling.
No.
But
That's so messed up.
But yeah,
I'm not interested in that.
it was. I mean, there's video that we took on that tour, and by the end of it, like Chad looks like just
he's
sallow
haggard.
at that
Yeah.
point. He's just like his cheeks are sunken in. And I remember we were doing Mad Libs on one of the last
Emaciated?
nights. Yeah, and we were just so delirious that when you look back at the video, the Mad Libs weren't that funny, but we were dying laughing.
Because we're all starving.
Yeah.
And we're sharing. We couldn't find real peanut butter, but for some reason in every dollar store there was peanut flavored icing.
Peanut product.
Okay.
Peanut product. So
Peanut
we're like
product.
squeezing it straight from the tube into our mouths.
Wow.
It's the only thing we have to eat.
Man, that's So it wasn't an amazing.
No, it
was
was. We
amazing,
actually
but-
ended up paying for our tickets. We actually ended up making enough money paying for our tickets, so it didn't cost us any money.
That's cool.
And we, doing what we do now, I realize how ridiculous this is now. But we had one of the ways that we paid for our tickets is we had a CD release party ahead of time, and with it was $10 to get in, but you got a CD with it.
Sure.
So we sold out the club. So we made enough money to pay for all of our tickets. But the CDs didn't come in time. So when the CDs got to Jacksonville...
That never happens.
No. When the CDs got to Jacksonville, I had my brother Denny pack up the CDs and ship them to Japan for us.
Which meant that it was a net loss by the time we paid customs.
Right.
But remember, we played that show and we were basically getting IOUs from everybody.
Yeah.
So we got money for the tour. Said we'll get you a CD when it comes in.
So
Yeah.
we then
so then you had to get back from Japan and get CDs to everybody.
mail
who
the
had-
CDs to everybody. Yeah.
To
That's
everybody
how
who
nice
come to the
these
show.
people were,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
So you made it back from Japan. What there's a story about you joining the band.
Yes.
So Isaac and Chad both were in a band with my brother Denny called The Harmonious Fist at the time, and we both practiced in the
Which you're in now.
I'm still
which
a
I'm in
fist.
now.
Which you are.
Yeah, both Isaac and I are still in the Fist, but both bands practice in my garage, and our original bassist Pete.
You were in the Fist at that time?
I was not in the Fist at the time.
No, this is.
No, I just confused the matter because he's talked about the Fist before on this.
Oh,
and
okay.
said that he's in it. So
But
yeah.
Pete was our original bassist. He decided he didn't really want to do music anymore. But before Pete left, Mark Capon joined on bass, and him and Pete switched off on guitar and bass. And I think Mark left before Pete did, and that's when you came in.
And they were like, okay, well we've got these shows booked, so we need somebody to play guitar. I was like, ooh, me. And they're like, okay, well, yeah, if you think you can do it.
Do you know anyone?
Yeah, pretty much. And then I get in it, and it seemed like a hallmark of a cadet song is it has to have at least 4 parts, I feel like. And so every song I would somehow blow one or the other part, and instead of telling me, well, it needs to be this chord, what I would get is, no, it's like this, and this.
Oh, right.
Don't you see? It's
yeah,
like
helpful,
this, and
helpful
this.
stuff like that. Yeah, cool.
So instead of saying, well, the middle section's in B minor, so it's a 2-5-1. Like,
But none of us
no.
knew what B minor was back then.
Right, I'm the only one with a music school education. So they're like, oh, just do the thing. Do the thing.
This shape.
Yeah, it's this one. And so by the time the tour rolls around, they I think it was you that broke the news to me. They're like, listen, we think it'd be real helpful if you were still on tour with us, but not playing guitar. Just bring your
But
keyboard.
not playing music.
Yeah. Bring your keyboard and why don't you
Play it
help
at the
us
merch
with our
table.
stuff?
Are you talking about, was that the Japanese tour or was that the East Coast tour?
That was the East Coast tour where I was the Moog noise player
Was that when we went to?
on 2 songs.
Was that when we went to like Knoxville and stuff?
Yes, that's the other indignity I bore at your expense.
What?
Oh man, get it.
Okay, so
Dig in.
So we're halfway across the mountains to Knoxville.
You're welcome for the vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're halfway across the mountains to Knoxville,
The road trip.
and Cash is driving, and I'm supposed to be keeping him awake. And he looks at me, oh man, Isaac, I can't anymore. Their yellow lines are like crossing. I've got double vision. I can't. I'm like, okay, well I'll drive then, Cash. So I drive the rest of the way, another 4 hours. I drive the rest of the way in. We get there. It's 6 a.m, and of course, somehow, Chuck and Cash, fresh as daisies, are like, we've got to make flyers for the show. I'm like, okay. So
I don't remember this.
Yes, between like Kinko's and then offloading all the equipment, setting up to play the show. So I haven't slept since like 3 a.m, and it's now 9 o'clock at night. And
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Even now.
yeah,
And
so
it's just as healthy today as it was then.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to collapse, and I lay down for what I think is a nap in the back of the van, and I am out in like 10 seconds. And I wake up, and maybe 30 minutes, 2 hours later, maybe tops.
I don't remember this at all.
And Cash says, Isaac, you missed the best part of the tour. How did you sleep through that? There were like these girls, and they showed us like these abandoned railroad tracks, and it was so cool. And there was this bridge, and I took some pictures, and we went back to their house. How did you sleep through that? I was like, that's a good question. How did I sleep through
I
that?
still have those pictures. They're really good pictures.
Oh man, yeah. This was about wanting to see the pictures. He just wanted to see the pictures.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just show him the pictures?
But Knoxville
Man.
was awesome. I remember that being.
Yes, what I remember of Knoxville was awesome.
I remember, but the bane of that tour was Chuck had this reel-to-reel projector that had some cartoons on it that you insisted on setting up every night, and it didn't work any of the nights. And you still insisted on setting up and trying to get it to work every night. And every night there was like an hour of you fiddling with it.
Did it
trying to get
stress
to
you
work.
out while you were trying to get it to work, or you?
It's the story of my life.
Do you remember that? Don't you?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on this tour, I should point out that that we were all like trying to wear thrift store ROTC uniforms as the cadets.
This is what you did in Hiroshima, right? This is, again, call back. I see the problem. Your insistence on riding in on a replica bomber plane was probably the biggest problem. But so you're wearing thrifted military
We
uniforms.
used to wear the coveralls.
No, it was the suits. It was like
Oh, yeah, we did wear the
it was
wool
the
suits.
Yes, wool suits
In the middle
because they
of
all
summer.
stank so
Smart
bad.
choices.
Like that time whenever we did wear coveralls, and we were playing some festival, I think in Jacksonville, and I decided it was too late for me to take my pants off and just have my underwear on underneath it. So I put the coveralls on in Florida in the dead of summer over my jeans and t-shirt, and it had to be cut out of my jeans after we got done playing. So I was having a heat stroke.
Had to.
Yeah.
You mean got to.
Yeah.
That's man. Yeah, that's no. All right. So how do you guys remember the indignities of him joining? Do you remember it the same?
I don't remember it that way.
Of course you don't.
Yeah.
I just remember it was like, oh, well, Isaac's stuff is already here.
So I guess we might as well.
We need another guitarist, so why not be Isaac? His stuff is already in the practice space.
Oh, geez. Well, now I feel really good about joining the band.
Yeah, I mean, it
glad
was really
so
just a matter of
crucial.
convenience. It was just your stuff was near
That's
their
not
stuff.
bad.
So
Is that a bad thing?
I saw it as an internship.
he still wants to know if you've gained anything from it.
Oh, jeez.
Man.
No.
This,
I remember it as a choice.
that he chose to join, you didn't make him?
That's true.
No, I mean
'cause
choice to
I was actually really excited, and I did not know that it would go the way that it did. I didn't realize the chips were going to fall.
But eventually,
I think we chose you more than we chose Chad. I believe Chad basically chose us.
Yeah, well, Chad hunted, and I actually was like,
most
no Chad,
dangerous
no
game.
Chad. I'm in him with this other band. You don't want Chad.
he's legally blind, but he can hear, right? Because he might hear this.
Yeah, he knows.
Okay.
Yeah.
He knows.
What was that band? Gutshot? Is that the one?
No, that was before Gutshot. It was Lucidor.
Lucidor, yeah.
It was.
That was a great band.
We would sound great at practice, and then in the middle of the show, something wouldn't go exactly like he wanted it to.
Well, that was because it was Matt Howard and Chad Matheny in a band together. That can't be good.
and
No.
he would just
Why?
sit
Are there
down
rules
on
against
stage.
things like that?
You can go ahead and pee, Chuck. He just looked at me and pointed at his crotch and back at the bathroom. Go ahead and pee. We got this.
He's not coming back now that you've said that. He's just going to scream the rest of the
No,
interview.
but
from the
I mean,
bathroom over there.
But
Oh yeah. Okay.
what's up?
Nothing.
You can cut
Nothing.
this out. What's up?
Oh, I was. We're an hour and 36 minutes into talking.
Oh my god!
It can't be true.
That can't be true. I thought I started at 0 though. So let's just go see where it happens.
Yeah.
And what I was talking about earlier, you went to those girls' house?
Oh.
It wasn't like that.
They showed him railroad tracks,
Isaac?
Brighton.
Brighton, I
That's-
never made out with or did anything with a woman in all 20 years of me touring.
So remind me
I-
of 37
Sure.
in a second.
Now he may have tried because he did get some phone numbers for girls in Japan.
Oh. But then he couldn't figure out how to dial the
Addresses.
number.
Yes,
Address.
He couldn't figure them out, so it didn't.
No, I
happen.
got a letter from one of them. It was from
yeah.
it was from the other band, the band that we play with Holidays.
Must have been really desperate.
They sent me a record.
Oh, can you? Maybe we should just put Brighton on Chuck's mic and just go ahead and let this roll. Come on, Brighton. Pull up a spot on the chair.
So
This is Cash's daughter, Brighton. She hasn't been on tour yet. I don't think, has she?
No.
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 One day.
Special guest starring in the role as Chuck. We have Brighton. So, Chuck, what was it like being in the Cadets?
I found the most difficult person was probably Cash.
Really?
He gave us a lot of issues.
Really? Was he a
wasn't-
problem? Yeah. What
Denny
did he
was
do?
just better at playing.
Was it mostly pooping related? Were those the
Oh,
problems?
the smell during.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I know,
It smelled
right?
like a dying animal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're grounded.
We're leaving this part in, though, just FYI.
You're grounded.
I insist that this part is left on the podcast.
Okay.
And then someday, Poppy can
When
come
Chuck
on.
gets back, we gotta tell the Unadilla
Oh yeah,
story.
the stinky van story. Yes.
Oh.
That's not the Unadilla
Oh,
story.
what about
That was the van.
Girl,
that
you
stunk
guys
and
cannot
died.
agree on any stories. Every time somebody says something, like, that's not what
yesterday,
happened.
remember when you told me about how you and Chuck had to sleep in the van?
Oh yes.
Oh, no.
Oh yes.
That wasn't you, was it?
Yes, it was.
Here's
It
And
was.
this concludes our performance, the performance of Brighton as the understudy of Chuck.
Yeah.
Now Chuck takes the stage again. Chuck, get back in.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Not getting
we
out
used
of
to
the
every
belly
I
year.
get to tell
Every
this
year
one.
I'm starting it. It's fine.
Okay.
Every year, or at least a couple of times, we played Mac Rock, which was run by who at the time was our previous bassist, Mark Capon. He helped run Mac Rock, and so we'd played Mac Rock, and it was actually a great show. I mean, do you guys remember Jason Molina playing? It's like one of the greatest
Yeah, out in the
concerts I've
square,
ever seen
yeah.
in my life.
Like this. Yeah, it was like in front of the courthouse on the yard with this bright
was a church.
halogen in his face.
Because
in the
they
middle
changed
of the,
venues on him.
It was in one of these, like
Like a courtyard.
like
yeah,
a
there was like a
town-
statue
town
in front of it. Yeah.
Square.
Town Square, a
because
quad.
he started playing a few songs, and then the fire marshal came out and made everybody, like half the crowd, leave because it was too packed. And so he went out to the crowd.
Fire marshal was like, "There's gonna be a fire in this outside park."
Yeah. No.
You need to
We were in a
leave.
theater. We were in a theater.
Yeah,
Oh, I
he
thought
started
you
in the
just said-
theater.
Oh,
We were playing in a
the
community
story is
theater.
time hopping.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we started in theater, and like
Science fiction, I get
the
it.
the bill was a couple of local bands, us, Ida, K, Low, and Songs Ohio was before Low.
There was
Karate?
Caliphone was in there too, I think.
something. Anyway,
That's like a plethora of '90s indie rock
yeah.
bands.
So he went on. Jason Molina as Songs Ohio, and the theater, but the fire marshal came out, and made half the crowd leave. So instead of him just playing to half the crowd, he grabbed a pig nose amp and went out to the city square or the town square or whatever and played the rest of his.
And nobody heard a thing because those
No,
amps are so
all of
quiet.
us were out
Sounded
there.
fantastic.
Did
Everybody
it?
was super quiet.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
Although the fire marshal should have gotten you at Mac Rock.
Why
since-
was he doing?
Well-
Letting
Oh,
himself
that
on
was
fire?
that was a different Mac Rock.
That yeah, but he
The one where you covered yourself with matches and scratched everything around
you're
you.
really not that far
Well,
off.
since we're at Mac Rock, one of the other years, I used to set my drum set on fire. And so at we played a show, and we played two shows at Mac Rock that year. And one of them was at someone's
You
house.
forgot you needed a drum set for the second
And-
one, and
and-
you burned your drum set at the first show.
The first one I set my
did.
drum set on fire, and everything went fine. The second one was back at the house. I set my drum set on fire, and I set the drapes behind me.
Yeah, you don't set fires in people's houses. That's
You don't
not
remember
okay.
that?
Well, it was scary because every time he had lighter fluid on the snare, so every time he hit it, it would jump up.
yeah.
And at one point, it jumped all the way. And
Yeah,
like
fire
spread
likes to
out
do
on
that.
The
It likes to go
ceiling.
up.
But we
Yeah.
got it out, and the guy who owned the house thought it was awesome enough that he did it right after me.
I would have murdered you if you did that in my house.
Well, but the funny thing
I would
is,
have
about
absolutely ended
About
you.
5 years later, I went to go see International Noise Conspiracy live, and I recognized the guy at the merch booth. It ended up being the guy who owned that house. We worked it out. I was like,
Set
how
your
do I know
pant
you?
legs on fire.
He's like, how do I know you? And he's like, oh, I'm from Harrisburg, Virginia. I was like, oh, you used to play this thing called Mac Rock.
He's like,
It's
yeah, you
"Oh, I used
almost
to go to
burned
that
down
every
my
year."
house.
And we figured out that I had almost burnt down his house.
Yeah.
Did you ever have conversations with the Common Grounds owner later after you smashed out his windows?
Oh.
No, you're throwing all these stories in the
Yeah.
middle of a story. You can't keep up.
Time hopping.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go.
It says
Okay.
it's true.
You want to tell the story about leaving Mac Rock.
All right. Okay. Well, here I go.
So we played Mac Rock.
Uh-huh.
We were. It was It was right before a break from school. So we brought Mark Capon back home to Jacksonville with us, and so it was the three of us, Pete's girlfriend Holly, who's now his wife, and Mark Capon all in the van.
Yeah, and so we're driving back, and
And what month of the year was this?
I think this was January or February.
Sounds right.
It's cold. It's snowing outside.
No, it was
Okay.
December because it was right before their December break.
Right, you're right. It was extremely cold. And Chuck and I decide that we're super tired. And Cash, very helpfully this time, he says, oh, I'll drive first. I'm not tired at all. I could go all the way back to Jacksonville. And yeah, right. That face. That's exactly what you should
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
And
From
so
Charlottesville. Is that
Chuck
where you
and
were?
I say, okay, well, then we're going to sleep in the van. And the last thing I hear is the door opening and somebody saying, and this is Cash's voice, no, they're asleep. Just leave them. They'll be fine. And then I hear the door close. And I'm thinking we're stopping at a convenience store or something of the ilk, but no, we're stopping at a hotel.
Oh, and he left you guys in the van.
Yes.
So me and Pete
There's
and
no
Holly and
insulation,
Mark.
by the way. This is the roof van.
Yeah.
It was gutted, right? So there's winter, metal, us.
Yeah, the
Right.
agenda had one of those vans too. Yeah.
And I
Dwayne.
built a loft but so you guys did have a bed.
You built the loft.
Well, I had a hand in building the loft. Me, you, and Hal.
He handed the hammer to somebody.
Like, well, I built a loft for you guys.
Yeah. What more did you want? I didn't need to bring you inside to the warmth. I built you a bed.
But I
Like months
remember-
prior to that. It had nothing to do with the situation.
And I remember
Why
going
do
to
you
the
think I built
hotel
it?
room. I remember going to the hotel room and it was cold, so we turned the heater on, but we didn't realize we left the fan on to the heater, like just to go instead of turn off at a certain point.
So we had gone back to sleep.
Yeah.
And you were thinking in there, boy, it's cold in here inside this building.
So
I bet
we-
they're fine out there in that
Like,
car.
blasted the heater. And I
They had-
remember waking up and like throwing the blankets off of me and
Oh.
hearing like a knock
Yeah.
on the door, and it's
They're
Chuck
like
and Isaac.
Jack
and we're
Nicholson from The
We're like in
Shining,
our
frozen.
underwear, sweating, and Chuck and Isaac are shaking at the door like this, and I just see Chuck go and shake his head and walk into the hotel room.
Yeah, we walk in. They're in their underwear. It's
like a
like
sauna.
a nuclear reactor coming out. Of
And I do remember Cash saying, well, we just checked in. We only got here at like 3 o'clock.
Oh no, I didn't say that because we were already asleep.
Who
like
was it
it was
that
like
was-
We
hours
just checked
later.
Who was it that was complaining?
Yeah,
You
we
fell
had to
asleep for
leave,
like
like-
2 minutes. You don't even remember. It's fine.
Well, can we shower?
Yeah, because we were about to leave or
No,
something.
we
It
have
was
to
in the
go.
morning.
Oh my God. That's ridiculous. Yeah, sleeping in the van, no fun.
And I woke up way closer to Chuck than I ever anticipated.
Well,
we-
because you needed each other
Yes,
for the
we
warmth.
did.
Yeah.
So what was the other one you were trying to tell in the middle of that one that I just shot you down with?
Oh, yeah, when you
I mean,
broke
that's
out
a
the
short-
window.
Yeah, we used to play at Gainesville a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to fall through a window.
No.
I ship cocaine and cut flowers to stow away. And if customs tries a damn
We used to play at Common Grounds quite a bit. It was almost like we were the house band there. It was in a little.
Would they
tiny
have said that, or
space.
you're just saying
They would
that?
have said that too.
Would
We
they?
played there quite often. And I remember the first time I played there was because we were supposed to play at Full Circle down the street, and they didn't let us play. And Common Grounds had open mic night, so we were the first full band to play there. They had just opened.
Oh, okay.
And after that, we would play there pretty often. You remember it differently, Chuck?
Go on.
And
I think he
so
regrets the story being told.
Is
Is this going to have more of his personal information in it?
No.
Okay.
I'm worried about accuracy.
Oh, okay.
but so
police him.
when we would play back in those days, I would set my drum set on fire. I would jump around.
Yada,
I would
yada,
throw the
yada.
drum
Yeah,
set
yeah,
out
yeah.
into the audience and reassemble it. I
Every
would jump
time.
up on my drum stool, do all these crazy things. And that sounds like we were a punk band. We were not a punk band in any shape of the word. You know what I mean?
You were playing Cat Stevens covers,
Basically. So I had
Crisscross.
this old janky. So Common Grounds is a tiny little place that had it was like a 50-person capacity.
I think I played there once. Where was it?
Right on the main University Boulevard.
Yeah, I
In
think
Gainesville,
so.
Florida.
Gainesville,
I think
Florida.
so.
Right by Leonardo's.
Small club.
Tiny little club. I think it's called 1982 now. But
Yeah.
so there was a window behind us on the back
Very
of the
large
stage.
window.
Yeah.
Very
An
large.
angled
very large
display window.
I played in
Pain.
front of that window and managed to not fall through it.
Well, let
Drums,
me tell
too.
you. So I had a janky old drum stool that didn't have the rubber stoppers on the end. And so when I jumped up on my drum stool, the legs hit the window. And I still have a scar from where it hit me. So, like, the window broke out and slid down and cut my hand
Ooh.
and almost killed me. And like immediately there was a cop like walking down the street and looked and was like, "What's going on in here?"
Nothing. We're fine.
So I broke the window. Yeah.
But it was so loud.
Yeah.
We had no idea what happened. We
Yeah.
just kept going.
You're like, that he's blowing up back there.
Got my feedback.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Cash.
And then did you throw the drums at the cop?
I don't remember
Did
what
you
I
fall
said.
out the window with the...
I did fall out. I ended up on the outside of the window, but I don't remember what I said to the cop.
It's all a blur.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't end up on the outside of the window.
No. Standing there.
You were very notably on the
I
inside
don't
of the
even
window.
remember you cutting your hand.
Oh yeah, I got a scar.
That happened.
You don't remember?
6 years
I
later.
had the shirt with the blood all over it. It's on the video.
You know, he got it at the beach on the boardwalk, and it's got like shark teeth, and it looks like they bit it.
Andrew WK on it.
And it's got blood on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I
Yeah.
survived Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah,
Were you in the band at that
exactly.
time?
Coastal Gainesville,
Isaac,
Florida.
were you in the band at that time?
No, this was right before I was in the band. So I only heard your brother talking about what a stupid show it was.
Yeah.
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 Very supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cash, like an idiot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
What was the high point of the Cadets? Is it this? You can say it's this if it is.
I mean, we opened up for Manor Ashman quite a bit. That was
I
a
said
big
one time.
high
a-
point.
a
We
high
opened up
point.
for a lot of good bands.
Yeah, we
Like,
did.
was there a show
The
that you were
Makeup.
like,
The Makeup? Yep.
yeah, that's
Delta
good.
72.
Delta
Oh, yeah.
72.
I don't know.
Mr. T Experience?
Yeah.
No, that was the Standards. The
Oh,
other band we were
sorry.
in together. Yeah.
But I would say the high point was probably
Flat Duo
Mac Rock.
Jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mac Rock was good.
Because that was we played the last year that Discount played their last show. Like that was their last show.
Yeah, apparently she was a fan. She used to come see us in Gainesville, and Sam Kramer, she told her that she was friends with us and requested a CD from Sam Kramer.
Really?
That's Allison Mosshart, that was her first band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Discount. I don't know how much of that's true. That was secondhand information.
Well, so don't fact check the last couple seconds of the podcast.
Don't fact check this entire.
Don't fact check
podcast.
any
I'd prefer you
cadet
to-
story.
Really? Well, yeah. I've seen Chuck shaking his head in frustration at the truthfulness of the stories over here.
Fidelity.
Yeah.
Fidelity.
Low fidelity.
Low fidelity stories.
Yeah.
They're yeah. Well, cool. Do you guys did you guys have
Oh
a-
yeah, we got the Unadilla story.
All right. Yeah.
Do we got the time?
Yeah.
All right. So
This is one for the ages.
Oh.
the other thing is they told me the other day that we played Athfest one year. I have no memory of it whatsoever.
Really?
Yes, we did,
Yeah.
and it was disappointing.
Yeah. How could it not have been? How could it not have been?
I have no memory of it.
Yeah, right.
Blocking it out.
Yeah.
I have
you
absolutely
did
no
something
memory.
really embarrassing in this town once, didn't you?
I guess so, because they said that
It was
I don't
yesterday.
know. Anyway, so we were supposed to play some Atlanta festival, and we were heading up to play it. And this is after Isaac had already moved to Atlanta.
Yes.
So in the van was, and the Rue van had already died, and I forget how I was rear-ended in the Rue van and almost died. That's how the Rue van died, and
And now he
Yada,
almost
yada.
died.
yeah.
Again.
But so I had this other van that was my stepfather's old plumbing van that should not have been on the road. It should not have been street legal. I mean, like the sides were rusted to the point where they would flop in the wind and you could see the road.
Yeah, where the sliding door was, you could see gravel
yeah.
flying past as you drove.
Yeah.
It had a manifold leak, so exhaust was coming at you in the
Yeah.
cabin.
It ran well though. Up until
did
now.
it really?
It did.
Did rain come through the floorboards? Because that used to happen
Probably.
in Dwayne. That
If it was
really
wet
fun.
enough, yeah.
Yeah. But so
Soak.
so up to this point it
and it had
run
no
well.
power steering.
That's
no
right.
power steering.
Yeah.
So we'd played a couple out of town, like a couple of stints, a week stint or
It
whatever.
was called what?
The Blazing Comet, because it
Yep.
altering its course was not possible.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It was going where it was going.
So we're headed up to Atlanta to meet up with Isaac, get together, and then play this festival. The Blazing Comet had so it was in the van was Chuck, me, Chad, and Max Wood, who was our officially unofficial fifth member, and
808.
You're Billy
Yeah,
Preston.
Cadet 808.
Yeah.
He was our Billy Preston, yes.
He was the best cadet.
He was the best cadet. He really was.
Call back.
I think everyone agreed that he was the best cadet. But so,
He's the nicest one.
yes, he is. Well, yeah. I don't know. Chuck's usually the nicest one, but
No.
Don't besmirch him like that. He takes offense at that.
Maybe to your face.
Yeah. Oh.
so we were headed there, and in Unadilla, Georgia, the van decided it was what? Is it pronounced Una? All right.
Unadilla.
From someone from South Georgia, I will.
Middle motherfucking Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't you dare say he's from
Sorry.
South Georgia. Jesus Christ.
What part of Georgia is Unadilla?
Unadilla is north-south of Georgia.
North South Georgia. Yeah.
You don't want to admit
He
it
means
as
it's
middle
in the
Georgia.
state.
You don't want to claim
it's
it as
in the
middle
state.
Georgia.
Like, by the time
I will confirm that Unadilla is in the state.
you hit Perry, Georgia on 75, that's you start to get to South
It's
Yeah.
in between Perry and Cordelia.
Georgia.
Cordial.
No, and on the radio station from there, they actually call it Cordelia.
I don't know if the person that did that radio ad is from Cordelia, though.
Okay.
Definitely 100%.
He's just admitting now he's from there.
They
That's
were-
really where you're from.
They were
isn't it?
advertising their.
Make it
Trying to give me some of this Macon bullshit. You're from Cordial. Yeah.
I played my first gig ever in Cordelia.
Ah.
Oh,
Really?
There you go.
At the Cordial Amphitheater, the Cordial Civic Center. It was a record. Okay. All right. Yeah.
It's in their gymnasium,
Yeah.
and it was fucking awesome.
Our
I
first
bet.
show was at a tiny theater.
Oh, we have to get back to the
Like
Blazing
a-
Comet.
Okay, anyway.
How
Played
tiny?
several community theaters.
Yeah, the one down in Atlantic
Community
Beach.
theater players.
When our band name was Pete Loves Chuck.
Quit. Tell the rest.
Anyway, so the Blazing Comet broke down on the side of the road on 75.
So it could be stopped.
In Unadilla, Max and I stayed in the van. Chuck and Isaac decided to walk up to the next
No,
exit.
not me, because I wasn't there yet.
I mean, Chuck and Chad decided to walk up to the next exit. And so Max and I are waiting there for I don't know how long, but next thing I know, so you guys had to have gotten on the exit, gone down, and come back and turned around. So Chuck and Chad are in a truck, not a tow truck, a regular truck with some guy. And I remember his name, Lonnie Parker. And
You hear that, Lonnie Parker? Thank
Yeah.
you. Lonnie.
Thank you, Lonnie Parker. All these years, this is a shout out to Lonnie Parker.
so
in Unadilla.
he was
Hope
the
you're still
kind
down
of
there,
guy
Lonnie.
who looked and sounded like he came from Unadilla, Georgia.
What do you
And
mean
the
by that?
truck,
Yeah,
very,
what's that
very
supposed to
kind
mean?
human.
he was
Yeah.
kind. I'll give him that.
Oh.
And his truck also looked like it came from Unadilla, Georgia. So
So much shade.
he hooked up a chain to some part underneath the front of our van and towed us into Unadilla, Georgia.
the pulling
which-
part.
What?
He put it on the pulling part.
Yeah, the pulling part. Yeah. So, and it wasn't just off the road. There were several dirt roads that we had to go through to get to Unadilla. And Chuck, Chad, Max, and I were in the van. Chuck was in the front with Lonnie Parker. Claims he doesn't remember any of it. You don't remember any of it?
Well, you don't know what Lonnie Parker did to him.
No, that's
Did that
true.
rag with ether on it when he got in the front seat.
Repression.
He just-
Repression, yeah.
Yeah.
So we get to Lonnie Parker's house, which was a compound with several houses and trailers on it.
Mm-hmm.
He claimed that his family owned part of Unadilla.
That part particularly.
Yeah.
That's what he
Exactly.
meant. He meant this lot that we're in right now.
Well,
this
that
part of
compound could have
Unadilla.
been a quarter of the town.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. You don't know.
And we'd already called Isaac, and Isaac knew that we weren't making the show.
Yeah.
So Isaac,
Well,
we'd
'cause
already called him.
I got frantic texts
No,
after a
you
while.
didn't get texts because
No?
none of us had cell phones. back
Somebody
then.
had a cell phone. Max
All
had
right,
a cell phone.
Maybe.
Like, damn, this cost me 25 cents each.
Yeah, 'cause it was
exactly.
like
yeah. I didn't pay for these
The
texts in
phone
advance
that I
this
got
month.
him on was the Nokia 9510. if
Oh
that-
yeah.
like,
So-
like scrolling with the big
Yeah.
arrow button.
So we get there, and Lonnie Parker shows us where we can sleep for the night. Do you remember where he showed us, Chuck?
Yeah.
What was it?
Trailer.
Yeah. It was like a
believe the-
pop-up camper trailer.
Yeah.
And it was filled up to our waists with, like, cans, like soda cans and tin cans.
So you good stuff to lay on.
Yeah.
It's comfy.
And had, like, it was just lit by candlelight.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's romantic. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
like-
had it been, how long had the candle been burning?
Who knows?
Did you get in there and it was burning already?
It
or
was
did you
already
light
like
it?
like an inch. It would have been lower, like 5 or 6 inches. Is already down to like an inch.
That's the length it takes for people to die that stay in there.
Absolutely.
He
The
blows
ca-
it
the
out after
candle
he
was-
murders them.
The candle was like imbibed with the souls of the people who died in that camper.
Yeah, or at least the beverages that used to be in those cans.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think Chuck and Chad were in. Max and I decided we were going to sleep in the van, and Chuck and Chad went into the camper, and you guys were there for like an hour or something, and then came and knocked on the van, and we're like, we gotta
candle's
go.
done.
Yeah, like we're not staying here. We got to go.
We're gonna die.
Yeah, we're going to die.
Yeah.
So we called.
So you stole that guy's truck and towed your own van.
Absolutely. No, we called Isaac, and mind you, we had our entire van full of equipment. So we called Isaac. Isaac, you had like a Honda Civic back then?
Yeah, that was Leah's. That was my wife's Civic, actually.
Yeah.
And it was the only car she ever purchased brand new.
So we call Isaac, and he comes to pick us up, and we somehow get all of our equipment in there. And instead of going to Atlanta, he drives us back to Jacksonville. And
Because
so,
you already missed the show.
Yeah. So we left a note on
Solid reason.
We left a note on the van and was like, thanks for the
Enjoy
ride,
your free
thanks
van.
for the tow. You can have the van or something similar. And we took the tag.
Keep it if you can use it.
And
Right.
3 weeks later, it was sitting in your driveway in Jacksonville.
Oh, I guarantee you it's still in the same spot in
yeah.
Unionville, Georgia.
There's the Agenda's van.
This was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, the Agenda's van Dwayne is in Bennington, Vermont, at a gas station.
It's still
where it
there?
finally died. Apparently, Maserati saw it there on tour recently.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. They were like, yeah, because they were with us when it died. So, and it had, you could tell because it had the General Lee spray painted on the side of it. It was a white van that was like stenciled on the side of it, and they were like, yeah, still there. So yeah,
Yep.
it might
Monuments.
be. You should go try and find it.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to deal with Lonnie Parker.
Well, I've had a request for a guest spot on the podcast for a second.
Oh,
So,
Brighton's wanting to.
Brighton, would you like to take my spot, or would you like to hop in somewhere else? You want to just hand you the microphone?
What do you want?
Okay. Just for everyone to know, my father tends to exaggerate quite a bit.
I don't know. Did I exaggerate that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
Hence
I
why
concur.
Chuck has been shaking his head the whole time. So just keep that in mind for his next story or two.
Edit here.
Just
edit.
keep a one big
That's
asterisk.
just gonna go at the beginning of every episode we ever do. I mean,
Edit.
and I'll never let
Edit
anyone
that
that
out.
knows me come in so they can say the same thing about me.
Disclaimer.
Well,
Was there anything I
this-
missed, Chuck? Anything you wanted to talk about?
I'm pretty sure Chuck didn't want to talk about anything from the beginning. He's been the one who said he'd rather not speak.
Changing my name.
Now he's
Yeah,
gonna need
exactly.
therapy.
You've ruined his cover. Now he's got to start all over again. It took him years to build this life.
No, I'm
No.
sure there's some other good stories.
Yeah.
Well, like the Valdosta thing.
Oh, we're not going to tell that.
We've all had one of those.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's that's pretty offensive, and it wasn't something that we did that was offensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that.
And we were out of jail the next morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was fine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys paid your penance. You know,
Well-
they repainted the church.
It's just something someone said to us about Valdosta.
Well, no, the rest of the story is still good.
It got
because,
rebuilt.
Yeah.
All right.
It was our last day of tour.
Yeah, every instrument we owned was basically broken at this point. We had all tapped out our entire bank accounts. Pete managed to overdraft $20 on his. We brought a loaf of bread, a jug of water, and peanut butter.
Yeah.
And the rest of it we spent on gas.
Should be
And we-
thankful it wasn't peanut icing.
Yes.
Peanut product. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
and
yeah.
and we got to the show, parked, hoping to get paid to get enough money to get home. And
That was not a long drive
it's not that long, but it
from
still
Jacksonville
takes gas.
to yeah.
Oh,
No, I
yes.
mean true, but
And we get there and couldn't get a hold of the person. We were calling them from like some payphone.
The
and we were
booking
at,
agent.
We were
Yeah.
at the club.
yeah.
And like he just never picked up, and the show never happened.
And we got his roommate who's like, oh, yeah, he's probably passed out drunk in a gutter somewhere. I don't know where that guy is.
Yeah.
No man. Yeah.
Yeah. That happened more than once.
That's it. Yeah. That happens to everybody.
Yeah.
We've all, you know.
Hey,
You've never had that happen? Man.
You're
Well,
so lucky.
he plays some professional ass shit. You play in jam bands generally, right? So that's some more professional. This is low rent. Nobody pays for this kind of music. But Yeah. All right. Well, I gotta go put my kid to bed.
We gotta go play some more music.
Yeah.
We're playing again for the first time in 10 years?
I don't know. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
They just come like a year ago.
Well, we
a couple months ago.
Yeah.
We started playing again.
As you said, Brighton, he's exaggerating. Yeah. What he's referring to is a new era of cadets, right? Is that the?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, let's wrap this up.
All right.
What do you say?
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, what do you say when you're done with something?
I don't know. What do we say?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, okay.
Finished.
Chuck, if you don't make some sort of sound, the audience won't know if you survived till the end of the podcast. Just a sign of life. You don't have to hold up a newspaper because it's not a picture, but...
You're dismissed.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Load In, Load Out, a tour story podcast produced by me, Bill Fortenberry. Our associate producer is Alex Scarborough. Our PSA copy was written by Matt Lewis and Lydia Brambilla. Our hosts, as always, are Ryan Lewis and Cash Carter. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here next time.